Welcome to the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay. This is your positive path for spiritual living.
Good morning, Unity on the Bay. Hope you're slowing it down. I certainly have been. And this morning I was listening to Joe Dispenza online. And one of the things that he said was, don't forget, you've been in training for this. And I say to you this morning, Unity on the Bay, we've all been in training for this. We've all been remembering, exploring, redefining ourselves as spiritual beings and finding within ourselves the ability to become liberated from the old ideas of what we believed ourselves to be. I say good morning to you this morning, realizing that you are here and now with me as much, if not more, than you could be if you were seated in this room at this very moment. And that's because from the spiritual perspective, we're not living in bodies. We're not separated in time and space. We live in each other's hearts. And all of us live in the collective heart of Unity on the Bay. So training it has been, dear friend, and this morning it is my desire to be able to share with you some of the material that we've been working with, many of us for years, some of you for a short time, but nonetheless, some of the material that can be helpful to us as we are looking at the current field of worldly circumstances right now. I've said so many times from this very place, this very space, that the two most important words in the English language are thank you. Thank you. And so as I thank you for being with us this morning, I also want to encourage you to be able to look not only at current circumstances, but anything at any time that comes upon the screen of your existence and be able to say thank you to it. And the reason that's so important is because when you say thank you and when you really mean it, when you can look opposition, misfortune, and challenge and adversity in the eye and say thank you, you are exercising your God-given ability to, like a spiritual X-Acto knife, slice through the harsh and heavy appearance of reality outside of you and recognize the truth of God that dwells within you. So as you speak those words, thank you, to current circumstances in our world right now, I believe with all my heart that you will be exercising your God-given ability to see through the appearance and to recognize the all-prevailing, ever-present power of God that is just a bit beyond that which seems so real to your human eyes. There are also infinite opportunities in our midst right now to speak those words to those who are serving, to provide what we need in this moment right now. All of the medical professionals, all of those in service industries, the people who are providing the supply of food to continue to get through as truck drivers, clerks at the grocery, whatever it may be. Bring those words to bear and realize you've been training in this field for a long time to be able to become conduits through which the love and the gratitude of the Almighty might express. And it is needed right now. Four other very powerful words that constitute much of what we've been learning over the years together here at Unity on the Bay are these. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. As is the case with everything in this realm of time and space. Things come, things go. This too shall pass. It's important to remember that so that you're able to keep your vision focused on the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. So that you're able to recognize that no matter how compelling the circumstances of time and space may be, you're going to move through that experience. You're going to recognize that experience is in your life for the sole purpose of reminding you of who you are and for ultimately liberating you into a new definition of what you came here into the world to be. I was looking at the word, and many of us have been thinking about this word, I suppose, immunity. I decided to look it up. Webster tells us that immunity is protection or exemption from something. And in the immediacy of the situation that we're in right now, you may say, well, of course, that would be immunity from the coronavirus. But I'm just proposing to you this morning that it's more than a virus, it's more than corona. We're in the business of becoming in a state of immunity to life in general. And what I mean by life is not life with a capital L. I'm talking about life in terms of our day-to-day activities, experience, and what shows up on the panoramic vista of the drama of our lives. Because ultimately, we need to remember that everything that is happening outside of us is a reflection of something that is happening inside of us. So what is this a call for? Not so much outside of you, though right action will come to you as you are guided, you will show up in the world. But what is this revealing to you at the deepest levels of your being? One of my values gurus is a gentleman who's actually been here at Unity on the Bay several times, Dr. John DeMartini. And he says this: when you're living congruently with your highest values and doing what's highest in priority, that's the greatest thing you can do in your life in general, and specifically to your immune system. Your immune system is strongest when you are living by your highest values. There are many things now that are being prescribed to boost our immune system in the midst of everything that's going on. But I'm letting you know this morning that your alignment with that which is most important, most significant, of greatest value to you is extremely valuable at this particular point in time. And you know, I've spoken a lot here in this room about the importance of values. This morning I want to share with you my personal values. Now, I'm not sharing these so that you can adopt them. I'm sharing them so that you can take time to pull away from the compelling reports of the news media right now. Go there as you need to go and as you feel guided to learn what you need to do to respond on the human level. But realize there's a huge invitation before us right now to take this quiet time to go within and to check in with ourselves in terms of what's really important to me. And you know, we don't really always give that much time or energy, contemplation, or thought, because we're so preoccupied trying to do exactly the opposite of what Dale was encouraging us to do during that song, and that is to slow down. No, we're always in hyperspeed. We think that the most urgent thing is the most important thing, and right now we have this pause point where we can really check in with ourselves and say, really, at the end of the day, what is most important to me? And how can I use all external circumstances, most expressly the ones that are at hand in front of me right now, to draw myself into closer alignment with what I believe to be important, what I really believe, to go into the core of my being, what is truly important to me. So I'm sharing my personal values with you this morning that you may take some time during these days or weeks ahead to contemplate for yourself what's really important for me, and how might I begin to live in greater alignment, knowing that that alignment is going to fuel me with a power that builds worlds around me and universes around me, and is here to bless me and then allow me to be a blessing in the lives of others. So in a nutshell, here they are, for me, years of refinement in this process. My values are peace of mind, appreciation, elation, vitality, support, supply, and communion. And being the sometimes anal retentive individual that I can be, these are organized in priority for me. The first 6 you might actually look at as being pretty selfish, because they have a lot more to do with me than they do with you or with anybody else. The reason that I am comfortable with that is because of the statement that we always hear, though not too many of us are boarding airplanes these days, the importance of putting your oxygen mask on first. And hear me on this, my friends. Right now, you want to be, I know we all want to be, agents for goodwill and blessing the world. You will not be able to do that if you are not taking care of yourself, if you are not nurturing yourself, and if you are not supplying for yourself the things that are important to you, so that you're able to then go out into the world and be a gift and be a blessing. So let's take these, and again, this is an exercise to encourage you to take the time in the days ahead to gain greater clarity around what's important to you. And I guarantee you, none of us have the same values. So make this discovery for yourself. For me, peace of mind requires first and foremost during this time of what is for many panic, doubt, fear, and concern, I am going to commit. And you know, my advice to you is always, first 15 minutes after you get up in the morning, don't let anything else get in there. You might be tempted to go see the latest developments with this virus and the effects that it's having. Take the time to go into meditation, to go into prayer and reflection, to become restful and to become relaxed and to focus on the things that are most important to you. Peace of mind. Peace of mind. The second is appreciation. If you're not already engaged in this activity, it's another one of the tools we've been training with to allow us to be equipped for this moment in time and space. Start making lists of everything you can that you are grateful for, and spend as much time and energy focusing on those blessings in your life. For me, it's been oddly, since I'm alone, I guess this doesn't bother anybody. It doesn't bother me. I'm walking around the house going, thank you, God, for this view of the bay. Thank you, God, for my incredible family. Thank you, God, for Unity on the Bay. Thank you, God, for this work that we're doing that is equipping ourselves and so many other individuals to be able to face the traumas and the tribulations of life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Abundant appreciation. Next is elation. In other words, moving out into the world every day, regardless of circumstances. I know right now, my friends, as you crank up your commitment level, this world of time and space will do what it can to try to keep you at bay, to try to keep you a prisoner of external circumstances. And that is not how God has intended you to live. God has intended you to live with confidence and strength and a spirit of joy. You're here right now. There's so many reasons to give thanks. Don't allow current circumstances to bring you down to a level where you feel victimized. We've been living that way for a long time. You and I have been in training to move through this particular crisis in a different way. I believe this with all my heart. You've been exercising your spiritual muscles just for this moment in time, to bless yourself and to bless the world, regardless of what you see happening in the external panorama of your existence. Be joyous, be alive, and be vital. Vitality, another one of my values. Physical vitality, presence of being. Myrtle Fillmore, you may recall, the co-founder of Unity with her husband Myrtle back in the late 1800s, was suffering from tuberculosis. She was looking for an answer in her life. She wanted a healing. She wasn't able to find that externally. And that's a good reminder to us, my friends. We don't find solutions externally. We find solutions internally, and then we express them externally. To this disease, to this tubercular condition that she had been sentenced, she said this: I went to all the centers of my body and spoke words of truth to them, words of strength and power. I asked their forgiveness for the foolish, ignorant thoughts I had pursued in the past, when I had condemned them and called them weak, inefficient, and diseased. I did not become discouraged at their being slow to wake up, but kept right on, both silently and aloud, declaring the words of truth until the organs responded. And neither did I forget to tell them that they were free, unlimited spirit. I told them that they were centers of life and energy, omnipresent. Myrtle Fillmore experienced a complete healing from that tubercular condition. And how important is it right now in these moments that we be speaking to our bodies, to our very cells within our bodies, with faith, with confidence, with trust, with hope, with knowing the power of God resides within each and every one of them. Now, there are many ways that we can exercise care for ourselves that ensures our vitality, and at the same time maintain our human-level immune system. Those would be to eat well, to drink well, to breathe well. Just take a moment with me right now and let's try doing that. Never do I wish to take a breath for granted. Never. Breathe well. Move well. Sleep well. Read well. Watch well. It's very important what we're watching right now, what we are feeding into our subconscious minds as we traverse through this experience. And finally, to think well. And that brings me back to this emphasis on knowing what is important and aligning your thinking so that you are able to align your feeling with what is most important to you. Then, as we have cared for ourselves, comes the moment we can care for others. Jason Weeks, who is a member of our staff here as Director of Marketing and Technology, put a post on Facebook just recently, and I just loved this. I thought it was brilliant. He said, let's generate during this time a list of 101 ways to be kind and compassionate during a pandemic. Let's build a list together. Ready, set, go. I'm encouraging you right now this morning to build a list together of the ways that we can begin to demonstrate greater kindness, greater compassion, greater understanding for all those who occupy space in our earthly experience. Very important opportunity that is before us right now. Supply. We're always talking in this place about infinite, invisible supply and substance of God, the divine. You see, as we talk about these things and as we affirm them for ourselves, my friends, it is true that earthly circumstances will not so much test us. I don't want you to feel like you're being tested through this or that you're in a trial of some kind, but that a golden opportunity is given before you to now bring that which you have been learning, that which you have been in training for, into expression in your daily life. And this is especially true when it comes to supply. At the end of the day, really and truly, where are you seeking to find your supply, your abundance, your prosperity? And if we're looking anywhere to anybody, to anything outside of us right now, it's a shaky ground indeed. But if we are focused and we are aligned with the value of supply, of abundance, and we are not going to allow circumstances of the world and time and space to pull us off track, we're going to know that the only place any abundance has ever come from, will come from in the future, is this presence, this power, this energetic force of God within. Communion. I'm talking about communion with yourself, and we're all getting lots of opportunities for that. It's good to be with yourself. It's good to befriend yourself. Your higher nature. You know, God is always looking for opportunities to become closer with us. And any effort that we invest into building that relationship with the divine that dwells within us is an excellent investment indeed. With family, with friends. Come on now. We're talking about remembering what's important here and not allowing this world of external clamor and distraction to get in the way. So we want to have open, flowing, beautiful expressions of love toward our families, toward our friends, toward our coworkers. You know, we're here with a very small group of individuals today, but when I walked in the door, boy, did I feel the love. And you can feel it right now with yourself, with the presence of God, and with whomever you may be privileged to be sharing space with at this time. Ultimately, it comes down to experiencing that communion with everyone. And my friends, it's in times of trial and seeming trouble, as we're moving through right now, that we have often the greatest opportunities to be really present with ourselves, with other individuals, and to really let people in our lives know how very, very much they mean to us, how very much we love them. So here we are, aligning with our values and building our immune system at the same time. Could it possibly get any better than that? And we're building our immune system not only to a virus, but to anything this world of time and space may seek to lay upon us. When you're aligned, when you're focused, when you know what is important to you, I've said this many times from this very place, there is no more powerful force in the universe than an individual who has come to recognize what is important to them and is seeking with everything in them to live in integrity with that. In so doing, you become adaptable. And don't we know the circumstances right now are requiring us to be flexible and adaptable? You become much less reactive and much less proactive, because you're moving your experience from within to without in ways consciously and intentionally that are aligned with what is important to you and very possibly to the person on your right, to the person on your left, to anybody with whom you may interface, whether it be in person right now or whether it be through electronic means. To become solution-oriented and not problem-centered. Hear me again on that. Solution-oriented. The problem is evident. It's all over the place. And the statistics and the figures are racing before our eyes. It's very easy at a time like this to get completely absorbed in the problem and miss the opportunity for the solution. Thank God we have some of the greatest minds in the human race right now that are working to develop solutions. Get on board with them. Whether you're a scientist or a medical professional, get on board by knowing that solutions are going to start revealing themselves to us. And that's what you want to get in step with. Become solution-oriented and let the problem diminish as the solution takes hold. And finally, to be able to find meaning, which is the same as being able to find survival in any situation. My closing words for you are these. See what is on the way, not what is in the way. See what is on the way. Friends, my original title for this morning's message before things reached the pinnacle that they reached was, It Just Keeps Getting Better. You gotta believe this. You gotta believe this, especially in the face of the most foreboding storms. There is a therapist, a metaphysical healer. Actually, I had never heard of her until I read this online just recently. And this is my prayer for you to contemplate and a direction for you to move in that is so beautiful and so solution-oriented, by Gurpreet Gill. And what if? If we subscribe to the philosophy that life is always working out for us, that there is an intelligence far greater than humans at work, that is all interconnected. What if the virus is here to help us, to reset, to remember what is truly important, reconnecting with family and community, reducing travel so that the environment, the skies, the air, our lungs all get a break? Parts of China are seeing blue sky and clouds for the first time in forever, with the factories being shut down. Working from home rather than commuting to work, less pollution, more personal time, an invitation to turn inwards, a deep meditation rather than the usual extroverted going out to self-soothe, to reconnect with self. What's really important to me? A reset economically. The working poor, the lack of health care access for over 30 million in the U.S., the need for paid sick leave. How hard does one need to work in order to be able to live, to have a life outside of work? And washing our hands. How did that become a new thing that needed to be remembered? But yes, it did. The presence of grace for all. There is a shift underway in our society. What if this one is favorable for us? What if this virus is actually our ally in evolution? In our remembrance of what it means to be connected, humane, living a simpler life, to be less impactful and more kind to our environment. An offering from my heart this morning, offered as another perspective, another way of relating to this virus, this unfolding, this evolution. It was a time for change. We all knew that. What if? Dear friend, now more than ever, we need you and the world needs you to focus not so much on what is, but on what you know can be. on what is important, most important to you. And as you live in integrity with that, you're going to be taking yourself and this whole planet through a divine ushering, like a midwife, to finally get us to the place that we've all been praying for, where we could live in integrity with divine attributes that have been calling out to us to remember them, to take us home, and to allow us to live in a world where truly our reality every moment when we awaken is one of peace on earth and goodwill toward all. I love you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay, a spiritual community located in Miami, Florida. Unity on the Bay is supported by the generosity of its community. If you'd like to make a donation or learn more about Unity on the Bay, please visit unityonthebay.org. You can also follow Unity on the Bay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for even more positive spiritual inspiration. Until next time, thanks for listening and many blessings. Namaste.